Hoo-wee! What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day bringing you another blade. And it's another cold steel, and it's another chaos. Alright, so we're going to see how much chaos this thing is really able to commit and provide us. So, let's go over this guy right here. This is your typical cold steel chaos setup right here. I brought you some already. I'm bringing you some more. So, what do we have here? We have this SecureX sheath. It's the same SecureX sheath as all of their other SecureX sheaths. Very good from here down, okay from here up. I love the fact that it's ambidextrous. Us lefties, we need that. I love the fact that there's lashing points everywhere. You could attach anything you want, from ferro rods to magnesium to strikers to band-aids. I don't care what you put on here. You could put freaking mini marshmallows on here. You could stack anything you want on this guy right here. And it's even got a couple lanyard holes that you can use right there for leg tie downs. Yeah, the only thing I never liked about these sheaths is I wish this was more stiff, you know what I mean? But once it's on there, it doesn't matter, so it doesn't really bother me that much anyway. This can go on and off of the belt without the belt coming on and off. I do like that, and it does have a single button. Now let's get into the blade itself, and I have the box right here, so I didn't have to memorize any specs, which is good, because memorizing is, well, it's, you know, I'm a little D3, so it's not my biggest thing, right? So the chaos, woohoo! Let's take a look at this guy right here. Man, it's pretty, I'll tell you that. It is definitely pretty. I like the SK5 steel, like it. Let's take a look at this thing right here. So we'll start, SK5 high carbon steel. We have a blade length of 7.5 rib poking inches. We have an overall length of 13.5, can't hide it from the police, inches. We have a blade thickness of 4.5 millimeters, a 6-inch long 6061 aluminum handle. We have a weight of 17.9. Now, this is the Tanto version, right? It's the Chaos Tanto. And the reason they call that is, well, because the Tanto, if you can't tell that by now, woo! So that's it right there. So now, basically, all the Chaos knives are fighting knives, right? This is what they are. This is what they're best for. Does that make it the best fighting knife? Well, the best fighting knife is something that you can bring around in your hand. When you're talking about brass knuckles, you know what I mean, or aluminum knuckles, included in your package, there's not much room for bringing the knife around, because you have to take your fingers out, put your fingers in the time it takes you to bring the knife around, which is very difficult to do. I could do it, but I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable to have to do that. So this is a one grip at a time fighting knife. Now, if you're in tight and you're fighting and you go to throw, I'm cutting my ear off. If I put my hands in it and throw naturally and come in nice and tight from a guard position, and I go to throw right here, this blade, and it's cold steel, so it's sharp. This blade is tearing me up. The only thing I can do is hold it in reverse. Now I can go from a guard position, defensive position, and I can punch out straight, and then I'm good, right? So this right here, ideal for throwing hooks. This right here is not really ideal for punching when you're using the blade, because you need to guard, right? And that's just not how you throw a punch. So if it's a fighting knife, this is how you're holding it right here. So you know when you're going to strap it to you, you're going to strap it in reverse, so when you pick it up, it's already there. Now, because it's a fighting knife, and it's not obviously a camp knife, it's not obviously a survival knife, it's not obviously a skinning knife, it's not nothing but a fighting knife, does that mean it can't be used for anything else if you are in danger or in need? So you're out hiking the woods, or you're out hiking the Grand Canyon, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm just going for a day hike, I'm going to be gone for 2 hours. So I'm going to bring a knife I don't need to survive on, but I'm going to bring a knife I can defend myself with. What if a cougar, or a black bear, or Bigfoot comes at me while I'm in the woods? Swing. All right, bear. Now it's me and you, right? So that's what this thing is for. This thing is actually, it's mainly for, you know, put it by your door and just wait for the wrong one to come around. Whoop! That's what this thing is for. But if you're out there and you're on one of those hikes, and all of a sudden, or you're driving, you know, across Death Valley or whatever, and all of a sudden your car breaks down and you're in the middle of no freaking where, and this is the only blade you have, you might want to know if this one blade can help you do things like process wood and all the small stuff. It does have a 90-degree spine. You can throw spark with it. However, right here where this little tiny ricasso piece is right there, if I'm going to be throwing spark with this blade, this is where I'm using. This area right here, you use for nothing. You need nothing with this area. So it is the best area to throw spark with because you don't have to worry about dulling your edge right here. Who cares about right there? And that's the way I would handle it. But let's see. Let's go see how tough this guy is. You know, we got this old Christmas tree out here. Totally forgot about. Let's see if we can't use this to knock down a couple of these little branches. And being cold steel, first and foremost, it's a knife. So if I need it to be a knife, I'm going to make sure it's a knife first. So just because it's a fighter doesn't mean that's, you know, all it's limited to. This thing has still got to be able to hack away little limbs and things like that and bring me from something that had wood on it to something that now doesn't. Let's see. Going through, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. All right, let's see. Let's see here. It is sharp, I'll tell you that. I didn't give it a true sharpness test, but we can go back to it. We can go back to it. Look at it. Oh, see. Man. So, I'll tell you. Comes down to feathering needs and stuff like that. Even though it's a little stick and I'm not really getting a full push on it, it's feathering. It's feathering. That's, if you need it to feather, that's all you need it to do. Let's check to see if it, oh, wow. And it is definitely 178% shave sharp. That's a bald spot. Man, you can't really see out here, but it's because all these hairs that are coming off my blade, those are the ones that used to be right there on my arm. So sharp, yeah, this thing's sharp. This thing is sharp. Let's go see if it's balanced, and let's go see how it does with the nylon rope. We have a little snow out here, but I'm pretty sure I could dig it out. Pretty sure I could dig out some rope because I see a little bit of it. All right, let's try and lower you guys a little bit. I want to lower you a little bit. Bring you in to see what's going on. All right, so let's do a couple drop tests and we'll see if this aluminum hinders the balance, which I would guess it would. And if I guessed right, from 4 feet down, it's not really turning at all. Just barely. So at a 4-foot drop, it drops fairly straight. Now it's held on with these screws. Let's see how well those screws are on there. Oh my goodness. That is some crazy bite. Oh my goodness. I might need to get a construction crew in here to help me get this thing out. Holy moly. That thing buried 2 inches on that downward throw. Do that one more time. I got no loosening. Oh my goodness. That's pretty solid. Ugh. That's pretty solid indeed. All right, so we know it does that. I wanted this. This is what I wanted. There we go. I found the end already. Whoo-wee. So we got some cold rope out here. Let's give this a push. And even though it's frozen, I haven't wiggled it. I just want, there we go. Now I'm going to wiggle it at the end. But I got about 3/4 of the way on just a push cut. Straight push. And then the rest I just sawed through. It didn't fray. It didn't break out. It all stayed together. That there is pretty good. All right. Let's give this downward chops, and we'll see how easy it is to tip off a stick to make us a spear, to make us an arrow, to make us a pit spike, to make us something where we need a point, right? And especially if you're out camping, man, you guys, man, if you've been part of this channel, you know how much I love in long-term camping, how much I love pit spikes. Pit spikes are great. You dig yourself a little hole, sharpen a bunch of sticks, and if you're in an area where either you need to hunt, if you're in long-term camping and you need to hunt your food, or if you're in an area that has just a lot of pretty rough customers, if you got bears and jaguars and pumas and mountain lions and all that crap around, and you want to sleep comfortable, you dig yourself a couple holes around your sleeping area, you put in a bunch of these pit spikes, cover it very loosely, and when some critter comes around, is on your way to your tent, man, he's gonna fall on one of those spikes. Fall on one of those spikes and game. Oh wow, this thing is nice. And game over. Game over. Falls down on one of these, forget about it. And that there, whoa, it's frozen ground. That there is pretty good. But of course it would be reversed. It'd be this way. He'd fall in and dead animal. All right, what are we talking about? Speaking of animals, I see Roscoe over there. You know I gotta yell at him every now and then. He's that kind of dog. All right, let me find something here. All right, so we all know that this is a fighting knife. It is not a camp knife, but we got to know if it's an emergency use knife, and that's what we're about to find out right here. Now, there's a lot of knots at the bottom, so as it goes through or not, I have no idea. We'll find out. Let's see. I'll get to that point. I'll stop. We'll see if we can't fan one here. We'll see. We'll see how we can do. Nice fire log. Nice fire log. There we go. There we go. Turn that. Let's do that all over again. When you got a piece of wood with a bunch of knots all through the bottom, if you chop yourself down a piece of wood, or if you find a broken piece of wood and it's knots all around the bottom, and you know that you want a baton so you can make firewood, right? Just go around and fan it out, and eventually what you're going to do is you're going to have all these pieces. You can either throw it in a fire like that, and there's going to be enough air going through, every one of them is going to catch, and then you're going to have a nice slow burn right here at the base. You can do that, and that works out really well. You can even throw it upside down so this is in the air. The fire will come up, burn from the inside out. It's a really nice slow burn. And then you can do a little bit more damage. Split the middle of that trunk. Especially if you have a good blade. And while this is not a survival blade, this blade is giving me some good fanning. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So, you know, if it came down to it where I needed an emergency survival blade, holy moly, that went a little better than I thought. If I needed an emergency survival blade, this one will do the trick. Roscoe, get up here. Oh, that dog of mine. Roscoe. Well, if he was the king of brains, we would all be stupid. All right, hold on a second. Let me dig that dog out. Oh, that damn dog. He's like, oh, I was just, you know, chilling. I'm doing my own thing. Doing my own thing. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go reverse on this one. See if we can't go all the way down. Let's see here. from the rear. Can we split? Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me that wouldn't burn nice. Tell me that wouldn't burn nice. That right there is fantastic. Plus, I got some other pieces. A couple of big ones. A couple of small ones. And the small ones especially, man. I like these. And the reason I like these is because kindling. Right? Having a burn is great. But you got to start that burn somewhere. Right? So, when you need kindling, you start with these little pieces right here, and now you're making a bunch of these fine guys right here. So you have your feathered sticks, right? And you do your feather sticking, and then you have things like that are fan. That's an old one I did, and I was letting it dry, and then of course we got all this crappy snow. So just put that over there, let that dry so I can burn these. So gotta say, so far, so good. We did a whole lot of batoning. We batoned through knots. The edge, flawless. Flawless. All right, let's do a chef style. Whew, wow. And now this is great for dulling a knife because we're coming down flat. Hey, we're going through a stick of hardwood and we're hitting flat onto a log. And it's just cruising right through. Bada boom, bada bing. So you think, wow, you just dulled the hell out of that knife. Well, let's see. Let's see. Well, you tell me how dull it is. You tell me how dull it is. Whoo, woohoo, cold steel. Cold steel. All right, so we know it does all that. It does all the finer work. But what about chopping? We know we can baton, so we can chop without chopping, right? We're using a secondary object to create a chop. What about chopping on its own? And for that, it comes down to grip. When you're talking about a chaos, you want to put your fingers all the way in the last hole. See this? You don't even have to do anything. I'm wiggling the wrist, and it's going to move. How does that work out when it comes to chopping? Well, let's find out. Let's find out together. Let's put you guys right there. Here we go. So now, how's it chop? Without expending a ton of energy, which is the most important thing you have in survival situations, because the least amount of energy you use, the least amount of food and water you need. And when you're talking about surviving, you need to conserve things like food and water. And look at this. Look at this chop. That's pretty good right there. That's pretty good. We're taking a fighting Tanto blade and we're chopping through a freaking tree. That's pretty awesome. But it has brass knuckle type things for a reason. Hold on, let's see if we can't wiggle this tip. It is a Tanto tip. Whew. So let's say you need to make a fire bow hole. All right, you need to drill a hole. Can we drill a hole with this Tanto? And oh my gosh, we absolutely can. So we can bow drill, we can chop, we can baton, we can fight, we can feather stick. Now, talking simply emergency only, can we survive with this guy? Absolutely. It stays sharp, it stays strong, it does everything we need it to, and in those situations, it's going to be fist worthy, right? You can punch with it. You can punch, and you can punch, and you're not going to hurt your hands. But what you are going to hurt is whatever you're punching. That's for darn sure. How does punching a tree affect it? It just makes tree land on it. That's it. Doesn't bend. It doesn't warp. Nothing chips or folds or frays. The thing just stays together. It's a really, really good knife for what it is. I want to try throwing it even though these aren't ideal for throwing, I'm Donnie B all day. So, let's see. There's the dog. Roscoe in the yard. There's Bigsby. And Roscoe, when I yell at him, he's way back there. All he does is just pause and thinks to himself, should I listen or should I not listen? Come here. Those 2 words he knows. Get up here in the yard. Sometimes you gotta go full Batman on him, or he just doesn't. If I tried Man of Stealing it, oh, Roscoe, he just looks at me like, shut up. Come here. Oh, you meant it. Oh, yeah, it's different. Oh, look at that. Those big dumbass just running. What are you doing down there? What are you doing? Don't you know today's Chaos Day? Hey, fear me. Yeah, whatever. All right. So, let's give it a toss. Let's give it a toss. A 5-yarder. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. It feels weird. I'm going to have to tighten the screws when I'm done with this one. That sound, that twang, is usually something loose. That's not something breaking. That's something loose. And that's just, all that is these screws need to be tightened after that. There we go. There we go. That was actually pretty easy. What I did is I just threw it from the blade. I was like, well, throwing from the handle is really weird because you have to hold it flat like this. So what I did is I just turned it. That seemed to be all right. So this is what we have. You're online. You're shopping for a knife. You're looking for something for home defense. You're looking for something just to wow your friends. You're saying, hey, friends, wow. And, you know, that's the reaction you want to get. You want to say, hey, to all my buddies, come over to my house and visit my new Cold Steel Chaos Tanto. It's awesome. Well, guess what? You wouldn't be lying. If you said that to your friends would come over and they'd say, holy crap, Jojo, if that's your name, Jojo, your Tanto is awesome. And you're going to be like, oh no, dude, you should see this video Donnie B all day did. Spread it around, please. And they're going to want one. And they're going to want one because it's really cool. It's really cool. And the only place you're getting a blade in this style that's as effective and works as hard is probably Cold Steel. I've seen a lot of them, like a dime store type, you know, cheapy wall hanger knives. Even though I tell you all the time, a knife's a knife, and I can take a wall hanger knife and make it work. This one's just going to work better. It's going to stay sharper longer. It's going to remain tougher longer. And that's just how it is. Can I make the other ones work? Abso-freaking-lutely. If it's pointy and sharp, it's going to stick. I can sharpen a stick and put it in a hole and kill animals with it. So I can definitely, without a doubt, use any sharpened piece of steel to do the same thing. But here we're talking about the Cold Steel version. And I have to say that this Chaos, it earns its name. It can create chaos. Again, I'm not going to fight like this with it. Oh, shoot, I just lost. Nope. Bigfoot comes at me. I'm winning. I'm taking that fight straight to Bigfoot. I'm throwing hooks. I'm not gonna, maybe I'll fake that jab, but I don't want Bigfoot catching it, because that might suck for me. But, wow, hitting that jab, man. Hitting that hook, I mean. Fake jab. Here you go, Bigfoot, psych. And, whoo. Man, this thing is damage report 101. I like it, and I thought that my handle screws loosened, but it didn't. It was just probably the sound of the metal. You know, it's two pieces. The metal just ting banging together, but it's on there real tight. I thought this was going to loosen. Nope, nothing. It's on there real tight. So what do we have here? Is one mean piece of steel. We have an armor-piercing tip right in the Tanto. We have a black coating for rust resistance. We have an aluminum handle, which even out here in the cold, my hand isn't affected by it. It's aluminum. I don't know if that does anything different than steel, but the steel is freezing. The aluminum is not. So this holds the hand warmth better than this does. If I held this the whole time, this wouldn't be warm. Holding this the whole time, this one feels pretty good. So kudos to them on material choice. Plus, it's effective because of weight. This is light, this is heavy. That makes it a great swinger when you're putting it in your hand. All in all, cool. Very, very cool knife. The Cold Steel Chaos Tanto. And I gave you a couple other Cold Steel Chaos blades, and they were both effective. Both effective. They seem to do these guys right. This is the third out of the 3 that I brought you so far. And, I mean, is there one that I could say I like better or worse? No, these things are just awesome. They work. They do the job. So that's it, man. That's it for me. Next time we'll get to something without one of these, and we'll get to turn it around and making some sound. And that's it. All right, let me get these dogs. And I'm Johnny P all day. Until next knife.